I missed. Hi guys, welcome to SMYLZ Philosophies. I, of course, am the legendary SMYLZ. Peep gang. Old people. The world is constantly changing, but the part I don't get is you're supposed to be intelligent. Why can't you grasp the concept that the world does constantly change, and for the most part it does change for the better? Why are you trying to stop it? You can't stop it. First of all, if you look at history, change is inevitable. You can't stop it. So why waste your time? Second, why would you want to stop it? Because if you pay attention to history, change always changes for the best, for the most part. Granted, that we have made a couple of mistakes where we tried to change something. It didn't work, but we learned from our mistakes, and we then therefore changed for the better. So you can say, as a society, as humans, as an entire race, most of our changes have been for the best. And those changes that weren't for the best, we eventually changed for the best. Based on just basic human demand, what we need to survive. Yet, they have these old people, most of them are conservative Christians, that's trying to keep this way of life that doesn't fit the demands of humanity. And it's going to change. Let's stop it. Instead of trying to stop it, just pay attention to history and see that it's going to change eventually, and just allow it to happen, because it's going to, whether you try to stop it or not. Equal rights always wins. You know, you ever look at television and you look back at like television from the 50s and 60s, and you see that married couples, they couldn't even sleep in the same bed. Like if there was a character, if there were characters that were supposed to be married, they weren't allowed to be televised sleeping in the same bed. They had separate beds. We look back at that now and think, man, that shit is fucking ridiculous. But we doing the same thing today. There are certain things in our time, in our society, that in the future they're going to look back and say, wait, they actually had to deal with that shit? What was the matter with them? They were so close-minded. Right? Think about this. We look back at it now and we say, wait, black people actually had to deal with segregation? Like, they couldn't drink out of a certain water fountain? They couldn't sit at a certain table? They actually had to deal with that? Today we see that's ridiculous, but yes, it wasn't even that long ago. This wasn't even 100 years ago. Luckily, common sense took over and the world changed for the better. Women had to fight for their equal rights. We think about it today and we're like, what? Women actually had to march and protest for equal rights? Like they actually had to do that? Yes, they actually had to deal with that. That wasn't even 100 years ago. Think about how stupid it seems to us today, because eventually common sense took over and we realized that women are equal to men. Black people are equal to white people. So the thing is, we're doing the same things today that in the future they're going to look back at us and think we were just as ridiculous as those people who lived through segregation or who lived through unequal women's rights. We're going through the same thing today, and the thing is, it's going to change because equal rights, common sense, and human demand always wins. They tried to stop alcohol with the prohibition. What happened? We had a desire for alcohol. We had a demand for it. Therefore, alcohol eventually became legal. Now, a lot of people say that didn't change for the best. Yes, it actually did. I'm happy that it happened. Watch this. How much profit has alcohol companies made? Think about that. I think the prohibition, when they canceled it, changed for the best. A lot of people don't see it that way, but those are the same people I'm talking about who are trying to stop an inevitable change. Here's some of the things we deal with in our society that in the future they're going to look back and won't even believe that we actually have to deal with this type of shit. Homosexual marriage, prostitution laws, marijuana laws, let's just say censorship. And I'm elaborate on those individually, so just stay tuned to The Changing World by the legendary SMYLZ. Let's go. Peep gang, keep up. Look for part 2. This is part 1. This is just a setup for the knockdown. Setup for the knockdown. Old people, please pay attention, especially you Christian conservative people that are afraid of change. Especially you. The ones that listen to Sean Hannity and Bill O'Reilly and Rush Limbaugh and the great one, Mark Levin. Pay attention. Follow me. Open your minds. Look at me objective. I'm not a liberal. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a conservative or Republican or independent. I'm a nigga. So I'm really neutral coming into this philosophy. Just pay attention.